Hey there. This video is for anyone who is just getting started on their research for hearing aids. I know from experience the process of finding hearing aids, figuring out which ones are for you can be exhausting and confusing. And it's part of the reason that I started the site you're looking at. It's called soundly.com. If you're seeing this on soundly.com, welcome to the site. If you're seeing this video on YouTube, it's great to meet you. And we'll talk about this guide, this particular guide, which is sort of the beginner's guide to learning about hearing aids. We've mapped this out over a 60-minute journey. So if you have an hour, this video won't be an hour long, but if you have an hour, these are the steps we recommend you go through to get smart about hearing loss and your needs for hearing aids. So we'll just jump right in. The first thing you're going to want to think about is, what is your hearing loss? Do you have mild, moderate, severe? What shape is your hearing loss? It'd be good to know some characteristics of your individual hearing loss. Now, if you don't have a hearing test that you've taken at an ENT or an audiologist, you can pretty quickly take a test on soundly.com. You just scroll up to the top and click take a test. I'll do that now so you can see what it looks like. This gives you an opportunity to just start the test. You'll roll through it and it'll give you a chart at the end, which tells you about both the severity and also the characteristics of your hearing loss. Next, you'll want to review the results. We have some resources that will help you understand some of the common patterns of hearing loss. Sloping hearing loss is the most common, where you hear reasonably well in low frequencies and it tails off at higher frequencies. Unfortunately, higher frequencies is where you get a lot of speech clarity, S's and T's. So if you're missing those types of words or confusing those types of words, you probably have a sloping hearing loss. So you can take a look at some of the resources here. Next, we recommend you write down some of your hearing goals. Think about, do you have hearing aids now? Are you trying to upgrade? Do you like a certain brand and want to keep going with that? Are you looking for something that blends in, like an invisible style? Would you like to have more control or have more support from a care perspective? Just jot down some notes that might help shape some of your decisions as we keep going through this process. The next step is to consider your care model, and there are really 3 different care models to know about. We have other videos about this topic, but I'll just briefly touch on it. The most common is prescription, and that's where you'll work with a doctor, usually face-to-face at a local clinic. They'll test your hearing, they'll program your hearing aids, and they'll be sort of your concierge all the way through. It's a great option for anyone who needs hands-on care. It's also the most expensive. Telehealth is kind of in the middle from a price perspective. It can be much more affordable, but you'll typically be talking to someone through a screen. If that's something you're comfortable with, telehealth can be a great option. We love Jobber Enhanced Select, one of the best performing products that we've tested. And then the final option is OTC, and this is much more of the sort of DIY approach. You buy a product off the shelf, you program them yourself using a smartphone, and then you can call customer service if you need to, but primarily it's self-service. So this is a pretty major part of your decision-making process. You'll have to think about what's important to you. Do you want to pay a little bit more and have that more premium service? Or do you want to go self-service and save some money? That's typically the trade-off that you're going to be making. Once you've made that decision, you can refer to some more of the resources that are linked here. We recommend you think about hearing aid style. Now, make this fairly easy for most people. Majority of hearing aid wearers go with a RIC style, which has a device that sits behind the ear and a miniature little wire that comes over the ear. Most of the time it's basically invisible. You wouldn't be able to see it if you're just looking at me head on. And then that receiver sits inside the ear, the speaker sits inside the ear. That's the most common. Around 80% of people end up with that style. Now, some people like in-the-ear styles. There are a kind of a variety of different sizes that you could choose from within that. So take a little bit of time. I recommend 10, 15 minutes. Watch this video, take a look at the different styles available, and think about which style seems to be the most appealing to you. That will give you some guidance as we get to the next step, which is creating your product shortlist. So as you get into creating your product shortlist, think about some of the decisions that you've already made. Are you interested in telehealth? That's going to shorten the list quite a bit. Are you interested in prescription? Okay, you've got quite a few options. Are you interested in OTC? You can kind of skip right down to that part. But we've broken out the product section into a few different groups. So the first group is prescription hearing aids. You'll see some of our favorites, including the Phonak Audeo Lumity, the Oticon Real, Resound Omnia. These are all excellent devices, all fit by a local care professional. and as you can see, quite a bit more expensive. You can also see some custom mold options. This is our favorite custom mold product, Starkey Genesis. Then we have another group, telehealth brands. So that's primarily Jabra and Auticus are the two real leaders in this space. And then the final group is your OTC products. And there are quite a few OTC products. There are a few that really rise to the top, in our opinion. We think Lexi is really good. We like Eargo if you're looking for something invisible. And we think Engage is good because of its Bluetooth connection with Android. And then that's kind of our wrap. And we have guides for all of these things. You can get deeper into the various products available. But over about 60 minutes, if you kind of take this process, you get a pretty good sense for what's important to you, the models of care, and then ultimately you can create a short list related to your products. Some of the products you can buy online or over the phone. Some you'll obviously need to go into a local care professional. One other thing I'll show you is if you want to get more in depth on products, you can use our product comparison section of our site. So you'll see here, we have all of the different products from all of the different brands listed out. If you wanted to compare a few of them, so we mentioned Phonak Audio Lumity, click that check mark. Maybe you also want to take a look at Resound Omnia. So, and then we'll throw in Jabra as well. So then you can click compare. Here on this page, you can listen to sound samples for each one of them. You can choose a track, so you can listen to a background noise track, quiet and TV track, music streaming track, and then you can see all of the details for each one in more detail. So, is it a prescription hearing aid? How does it fit? How comfortable is it? What's the battery life like? It's an easy way to kind of compare features across devices if you want to get deeper into that product comparison, step in this process. So that's it. I hope this has been helpful to you on the site. Please reach out to us if you have any questions. Our email is hello@soundly.com. We're here to help, and we wish you the best in your search.